And we're bringing you breaking news coming in from the Calcutta High Court, where the mega Didi versus ED face-off is currently going on. The hearing before the Calcutta High Court, where the Enforcement Directorate is claiming that the TMC is seeking relief. The TMC says it is an extraordinary case of bullying by the ED. They also said that they had no idea about the ED's plea. Remember, we've seen this face-off coming in over the last few days as the ED had gone for a raid on the IPAC office. The Enforcement Directorate telling the Calcutta High Court that the Trinamool Congress had snatched away files that the ED officials were looking into, even as the TMC says it is an extraordinary case of bullying by the Central Investigation Agency. Tapas Sengupta is joining me live on this story. Tapas, the hearing is still, of course, ongoing. We're seeing the kind of arguments that are being raised by both sides in the High Court. What has happened so far? Take us through the hearing so far.
Well, the Trinamool Congress's counsel have categorically stated that they are not party to the court, to the case that was filed in the Supreme Court. Neither they are party to the caveat that the Enforcement Directorate's counsel have raised before the court. And the Enforcement Directorate wants that at this moment, since another petition have been filed at Supreme Court, henceforth this particular hearing should not happen at the Calcutta High Court. We must wait till the hearing starts at the Supreme Court, which is expected somewhere on Monday, and the heaven would not fall down if we wait till Monday. That's the argument that both the sides have placed as of now, but both the parties are legally fighting it out and putting their own legal perspective as to why this case needs to be heard, or this case do not need any hearing at the Calcutta High Court level as of now. But the legal counsel from the Trinamool Congress, Ms. Guruswamy, have categorically stated that they are not party to the case that have been filed at the Supreme Court at this moment, and to which the counsel on the other side have stated that they are on caveat, to which they have completely denied the fact. Now, at this moment, the hearing continues, and the articles were seized by the Trinamool Congress. In this kind of
arguments that are being raised in the High Court, the counsel for the Trinamool Congress saying that we want our political data to be protected, that the ED does not have the right to take away political data because the TMC fears it may be misused. You've seen the political war of words over the last few days. Can you take us through what exactly the TMC has been saying about the political data and its ramifications, considering the Bengal elections are coming up very soon?
Well, see, there have been war of words between the Trinamool Congress and the Enforcement Directorate in the last almost 1 week. Now, the Trinamool Congress Supremo, when visited while the raid was ongoing at Pratik Jain's residence, she categorically came out with a green file stating that the main motto of the raid was to have the strategic documents and other election-related documents of Trinamool Congress from the residence of Pratik Jain. And on the other hand, as far as investigation is concerned, it was just an eyewash, to which the Enforcement Directorate had categorically objected. They had said that it was by the law, as the law was laid down following those, the procedure was maintained completely, and they are fearing that these kind of intimidations will only hamper the process of investigation in days to come. But Mamata Banerjee set up a very clear narrative ahead of the elections that it was CBI, ED earlier, and now as we are drawing closer to the elections, now some way or the other the central government is trying to use the central agencies like Enforcement Directorate and ED, Enforcement Directorate and CBI to intimidate the political parties, and now they are into taking the political documents. It's about the privacy that has been mentioned in the court time and again today, that the political party have their own privacy, and it's the jurisprudence of the court to protect that. So given the situation, the narrative has already been built politically. Now it remains to be seen that what exactly transpires at the end of the day. We know at Supreme Court a similar similar petition have been filed by the Enforcement Directorate for hearing, and they are also pleading for a CBI inquiry into the matter. Keeping that in mind, they are arguing in the court at this moment that this case should not be heard at Calcutta High Court. We should wait for hearing at Supreme Court, to which the Trinamool Congress Council have vehemently objected.
All right, Tapas Sen Gupta, stay on with me. I'm also being joined by Nalini in the newsroom right now. Nalini, we're seeing the kind of arguments that are being made in the Calcutta High Court. The Enforcement Directorate claiming that these are routine search and seizure operations that the ED is authorized to do. The TMC calling it an attack on political freedom. The TMC, and at the same time, the central government says that because the allegation is election details, the Election Commission of India should also be made a party if there is electoral data involved. What kind of arguments are we really seeing here, Nalini? Because it seems that the political and the legal are both being argued.
Well, it's a heated war of words between the TMC Council Senior Advocate Menaka Guruswamy and the Council for the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Government, Additional Solicitor General SV Raju. Both of them appearing virtually before the Calcutta High Court from New Delhi. And like I said, heated war of words going on between the both of them as to whether or not the matter should be heard today. Initially, we saw attempts by ASG SV Raju trying to get the matter adjourned, stating that there are several aspects that the ED wants to look into before this matter should be argued. They also want to challenge the maintainability of TMC's plea before the Calcutta High Court, which is why the matter should be adjourned, keeping in mind that they already have a petition pending in the Supreme Court and that it won't be judicial propriety for the High Court to take up the matter before the Supreme Court's allowed to do it. But at the same time, there was no date fixed for the Supreme Court hearing. Even though ASG Raju said that it should be taken up within a week, there is no confirmation or clarity on exactly when the Supreme Court matter is going to be taken up. What we've seen is that the single judge bench of Justice Suvra Ghosh, who's hearing this entire matter, has decided to at least go ahead with the preliminary arguments. She has said that she wants to hear what the centre or the Enforcement Directorate has to say in this regard, because remember, there are separate petitions filed both by the TMC as well as the ED against the other party, alleging interference of different kinds, where ED alleges that there were documents which were part of evidence that were taken away by Mamata Banerjee and other TMC members. On the other hand, TMC alleges that their sensitive political data is being stolen, that is protected by their right to privacy. And keeping that in mind, they want their electoral data to be safe, especially in a year when the elections are set to happen in the state of West Bengal. So preliminary arguments are going to be expected by the ASG on this point. They've also mentioned, the Union of India has mentioned, that if TMC is alleging stealing electoral data, then they should have ideally made the Election Commission of India a party to this case, which they haven't done. And questions are being raised as to why the TMC did not make the ECI a party to this case. So like I told you, preliminary arguments going on right now. Centre trying to make sure that the matter gets adjourned as far as possible. But it remains to be seen as to whether or not we will see an order come in, at least an interim order come in from the Calcutta High Court today. Because remember, prayers have been made both by the TMC and the ED alleging interference by the other party. Anisha.
All right, Nalini, we are seeing the kind of arguments, if you look at the kind of arguments that are being made with regard to maintainability, with regard to whether the High Court should hear it or the Supreme Court should hear it. The TMC also making a very serious allegation of bullying in an election year. In fact, the comment that was made was that we are, unlike the ASG, we are not trying to bully the court. So we are seeing this direct face-off in a way, Nalini, between the TMC and the Enforcement Directorate. And as you just mentioned, both of them have gone to the Calcutta High Court. As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, the ED had filed their petition, but that petition, at the moment at least, is in defects. There is no clarity on when this matter will be heard. But if you look at the arguments that are being made, the ED seems to be saying if there is an issue about election, if there's an issue of infringement of privacy, there seems to be contradictory arguments being made. That is what the ED, the centre's argument seems to be, that why is it that the TMC is coming to the court when the raid was at the residence of a private person, isn't it?
Yes, that's precisely what the ASG currently is arguing, because the union government is stating that the raid by the ED was conducted at a certain person's residence, who was Pratik Jain, who was the head of IPAC. But at the same time, the petition alleging privacy is being violated is being filed by the Trinamool Congress led by Mamata Banerjee. So the union government is questioning why another person is filing the petition when the raid was not even conducted at their particular house. But what needs to be remembered is the few arguments that were made by Menaka Guruswamy, who is the leading counsel for TMC, before ASG SV Raju was allowed to place the arguments on behalf of the union. And she had clearly stated, one, that TMC is still not a party before the case going on in the Supreme Court. Neither have they filed a caveat before the Supreme Court. So they have nothing to do with the Supreme Court proceedings till the time the matter is not taken up and TMC is specifically called to reply. The second thing that she stated is that this is a violation of their right to privacy, because it's their sensitive political electoral data that was being grabbed by the ED during the raid that was being conducted at the residence of Pratik Jain. What remains to be seen is as to whether or not the Calcutta High Court single judge bench who's hearing the matter actually finds any ground with the kind of arguments that have been made by the TMC. Because what the Union of India is saying through ASG SV Raju is, one, that the petition has been filed by TMC when the raid was not even conducted at their place. Two, that they are alleging that there is a violation of their fundamental rights, their right to privacy. But at the same time, they've not made the Election Commission of India a party to this case, despite the fact that they are saying that their electoral data has been stolen. So why has that not been done? The union government is also challenging the maintainability of the plea itself, saying that the plea is not maintainable and should not be taken up by the Calcutta High Court for hearing. But remember, there are two petitions, separate petitions, both listed before the same judge, one after the other, during this hearing itself. Although one petition is by TMC, where the Enforcement Directorate is challenging the maintainability, there is another petition by the Enforcement Directorate itself against the West Bengal government led by Mamata Banerjee, alleging that they had interfered into the working of a central agency while the raids were being conducted at Pratik Jain's residence. Another important thing to point out over here is that, like I told you, both ASG SV Raju and Menaka Guruswamy are appearing from Delhi virtually before the Calcutta High Court, which has somehow led to slightly more heightened, heated arguments and war of words, because there's a lot of overlapping. There are several people who are joined through the virtual hearing. So the audio is not also clear, which is why ASG SV Raju was also alleging that his mic is being muted several times. He's not able to hear the judge, what the judge is saying, and he is not being able to place his arguments. Although both the parties, the union as well as TMC, have lawyers present in court as well, but it's the senior advocates that are appearing virtually. So there's a lot of chaos. Of course, nothing on lines of what had happened during the last hearing when the court had to adjourn the hearing because of the overcrowding in the court. But despite that, even virtually, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of contradictory arguments
Please
being
stay
made
on
by
with
the
me.